Yesterday I went through a very, very deep, like, channeling. I got home from work and was like instant gratitude. I couldn't believe what my life has become. I was freaking out, man. I got home from work and the rugs came for my kitchen along with my new coffee pot, which you can see it right there, and my tea kettle. The tea kettle. Coffee pot. Alright, and I got rugs. Let's see if I can tip it down a little and show you. So cute. Orchid just hanging out. Okay. All right, so while I was sitting here like freaking out, not being able to comprehend what my life has become and is becoming, I started to buzz, and I had this like extreme excitement. My brother's buying a house. I have moved. My other brother, my middle brother, he caught a fish the other day, and like he was cursed with this never being able to catch a fish. So, or at least since he got his kayaks. And he's caught some fish recently, and I was like so excited for all of our lives changing, right? I had been listening to the album Lemon Parade by Tonic yesterday, and probably like around 2 o'clock, I was scrolling through TikTok. I heard the song Open Up Your Eyes, and I was like, you know what? I haven't listened to the album all the way through in freaking years. So I opened up the album and I listened to it from start to finish, and oh my god, the fucking downloads started as soon as I started that album up. Anyway, I had to sit down with it because at first, as I was at the very last 2 songs on that album, I saw 888 and it moved over to 9909. Now tomorrow is the peak of this Lionsgate portal that we're going through. And then we have a solar eclipse on the 12th, a new moon eclipse on the 12th. So first of all, new moons, here we go again, are about creation. It's the womb. It's when we manifest. It's the strongest time for us to manifest during a new moon, because it's the void, the 0 point. It emits a frequency such that the things that, like as within, so without, the things that we're manifesting can very rapidly be birthed. This is how the sun and the moon work together. So we're cultivating our manifestations during the day in the light of the sun. The sun is shooting us with full of light codes. And consciousness exists everywhere. So the sun provides pathway for us to be able to receive the thoughts and the downloads and the visions, because we're being nailed with it during the sunlight, when we're in the sunlight. Then the moon, okay, so think the sun is masculine. So we're cultivating all of these ideas and downloads. And then during the nighttime, when the moon is reflecting the sun's light, it's being concentrated, and we're being shot with that too. Just like the feminine is a reflection of the masculine. Look at a marriage. How the husband treats his wife is going to determine the behavior of the wife with the rest of the collective. Okay? So 888 shifting to 9909. Okay, the work is done. The gate's open. 99, okay, so 888 is, you know, like the work, the abundance that's coming from the work. And think about August 8th, Lionsgate, being like the height of the summer. You know, things are ripening, we're harvesting, baby birds are fledging. Some species of turtle have laid their eggs. They're now leaving the protective area of their nest, and they're going away because those eggs are getting ready to hatch. Okay, the work is done. The gate is open. The energy of Lionsgate, I'm hearing, opened up on the 27th of July, so we've been in it for a little more than a week. There's a threshold feeling. When the old cycle has already completed itself in the quiet, and the new hasn't yet fully announced its shape. So 9909, okay, so think about nines as being the completion, the freedom and independence that comes with doing all of that work. You know, you've been for years and years and years and years stuffing money into a IRA, and you've reached that $6,000, I think it's $6,500 now cap for the year, and you feel so good. You feel so good because at the end of the bigger cycle, you get to start withdrawing from that. All right. And then zero, the 0 point, and then 9 again. So we have a tertiary grouping of 9s and a grouping of 8s. All of the work that we put in is complete and ripe for harvest. And because we're still sitting in this void, we still don't quite know exactly what shape that harvest is going to be, okay? You, me, we are sitting in this charged stillness between the completion of the work and the harvest. So I wrote this. Summer's at its tipping point. Fruit's heavy on the branch. The nest is emptier than it was. Earned independence is not the loud declaration. It's the quiet knowing that the work already finished itself through you. 9s are the harvest of everything that the 8s built. All right. And I wrote some more down about Lemon Parade because this whole thing started when I started listening to that album. It held for me, still holds for me. I'm probably going to listen to it one more time today. The whole arc of this energy that we've gone through since February. So we've a new moon in Leo on the 12th of August. with a solar eclipse. The sun will go dark for hours, a couple hours. Think of it as a crossing of the threshold. February, when we had the full moon in Leo, it was, I believe it was like at the beginning of the month. I feel like it was like around the 1st or 2nd. The manifestation of last year's energy was coming into fullness, and the new energy. And remember that I said at the beginning of the year, this was a 1 year, and on January 1st, 2026, I said, this is the beginning of the manifestations that are going to lead us through this 9-year cycle that we're starting. So there's a bigger cycle, and then we're all living our own little cycles of that. So right now, the 6-month mark, we're at the new moon in Leo, Lionsgate, this solar eclipse. We are setting the basis for what's going to be brought to fruition for the rest of this year. So this energy, it's raw, it's messy, it's beautiful, it's bruised, and somehow it's enlightening. Think about all the shit that we've been through since the beginning of January. Think about it. Think about how many towers we could have experienced and we avoided. Because through this whole process, we have been learning rapidly how to control ourselves. And in the control of ourselves, we're controlling the energy around us. It is magic. The ups and downs are not cleaned up in that album. They're actually honored. Think about the last song. The last song on that album, My Old Man. It's essentially like, I knew you were always going to disappoint me, but I love you anyway. It's the frequency or the map of what we've been through and what's about to open. Listen to that album, start to finish. Open Up Your Eyes is the very first song. The frequency of the victim is changing, and the reason why I say that is very last song, I knew you were going to disappoint me anyway, that's okay. What does the victim do? The victim balls up and starts saying, I'm a victim, out of a need to protect themselves. Well, my mother abandoned me, and she put this other man first in her life and put us kids second, and that's why I am the way that I am. And holding that identity, identifying with that mindset, it's a safety protocol. Because if I believe that somebody else is responsible for my behavior, then I don't have to take accountability. We are not victims of circumstance. Yes, we've been battered, bruised, and beaten, essayed. And there were things that we had no control over. However, up to this point, we have survived 100% of the time. We have survived, and watching this video is proof of that survival. Accountability must be had at this time. The ones who begin to take accountability and change the script around the victimhood are the ones that are going to receive this elevation of consciousness for the next year. See, I say all the time that healing never ends. It's a spiral, and we're just jumping to the next level of consciousness. So, accountability must be had for the times that we should have said no. The times that we should have said no because our gut was screaming at us. Take accountability for the trauma that we put ourselves into. We got into the car with someone who was an unsafe driver, and we got into a car accident. We got in a car with somebody who'd been drinking, and we got into a car accident. And we're blaming them for the drinking. But we knew that we shouldn't have got into that car. We should have called an Uber. We should have found another designated driver. We should have. It's time to take accountability. Yep. They should have never even offered to drive. Yes, that's true. But you should have never got into the car. This is the kind of accountability that I'm talking about. All right, the things that happened to us when we were kids. I truly have no words for this. Children are innocent and they trust. And when a grown-up says, it's okay, we're having fun, they trust them. Because adults are the first gods in our lives. In these cases, the best thing that we can do for ourselves is acknowledge that yes, it happened. It happened. Don't identify with that trauma. And forgive. You don't have to forgive the true villain, but forgive the people who put us into unsafe situations. Forgive them. And especially forgive the ones who had nothing to do with it that you're still blaming anyway. They're human too. Many of them unknowingly put us into unsafe situations because they weren't listening to their discernment and their intuition. They were just as blinded by the matrix as we were. This is a new level of consciousness for many of us. In the Nag Hammadi scriptures, the exegesis of the soul, it says, but when she perceives the trouble she is in, weeps before the Father and repents, then the Father will pity her and make her womb turn from the eternal or the external and turn inward again. And she will recover her proper character. Now is right that the soul be regenerated, be as she formerly was. This is the resurrection from the dead. This is the ransom from captivity. This is the ascent to heaven. This is the ascent to the Father. I'm hoping that those of you who are still following along to this point recognize and understand that any scripture from 3,000 years ago that says the Father, remember that the masculine became the dominant character through ego. So, the powers that be created an external God and called it Father. But really, what they were doing was hiding the God's self, the balanced masculine, feminine creator God that is you. But when she perceives the troubles she is in, weeps before herself, asks for forgiveness of herself, then she will feel sorry for her, pity her, forgive her. Her womb, that's this vessel. Turn from the external, I'm separate from everything else, and turn inward. I'm part of everything. So what have I done that I need to take accountability for? And then she'll recover her proper character. That's when the soul and the vessel reunite. The Gospel of Truth in the same set of scriptures found in the Nag Hammadi Desert, believed to be written by the Essenes, and Jesus was an Essene. So from the Gospel of Truth, the moment those who go through all these things wake up, they see nothing. Those who were in the midst of all these disturbances, for they were nothing. Such is the way of those who have cast ignorance away from them like sleep. They do not consider it to be anything, nor do they regard its works as solid things either, but they leave them behind like a dream in the night. The knowledge of the Father they regard as the dawn, the sun. Good for the one who will return and awaken. Okay, so now as I'm going through this download, I wanted to pull some cards about it because I wanted to have something to come to you guys with today, and I think I am going to do a part 2 of this, and I'll do the actual reading. So the cards that came out were from the Priestess of Light Oracle. We've got Touching Earth. It says planting something new. The underlying energy here is telepathy. It says transmission, perception, and communication. And I was thinking about how yesterday I posted on TikTok earlier before the 888-9909 transmission that, asking, have any of you guys been thinking about people or dreaming about people or having daydreams about people, and then within 24 hours they appear? I had an instant manifestation the other day, and then yesterday was that 24-hour manifestation. I had a dream about a friend of mine, and she was changed in the dream. She had blonde hair, and her son also had blonde hair, and he's got dark brown hair in real life. And but she was a blonde in my dream, and I was whoa, I like the new look, you guys. And 24 hours later, I got a text from her. So like these things are happening very quickly. The synchronization 1222, okay, that was a big one. So the new thing being planted is the frequency that's being broadcast, and many of us are picking it up in different wavelengths, right? Because we all have a different perception, and that perception aligns us with the frequency that's being attracted in, that we're picking up. Okay, so this new thing being planted is the frequency that's being broadcast, and we're channeling it. The next thing I pulled from the Shapeshifters Oracle by Lucy Cavendish, and I got Alice in a Sea of Tears. Okay, it says, cast away out of your depth, feeling abandoned. And there's the victim mentality. In the Alice in Wonderland book, not the movie, Alice is a mental health patient. Schizophrenic. And, Wonderland is, the hallucinations that she's having. The very first scene of the movie, the very first, like when we're first experiencing Wonderland, she's on the beach and the carpenter and the walrus happen, and she starts crying. And the walrus and the carpenter are doing their little oyster dance, and she's crying, and the sea is filling up and filling up and filling up with her tears. Cast away out of your depth. What the fuck have I got myself into? And nobody's here to save me. Feeling abandoned. The victim. The underlying energy here is a beautiful little worm. It says, take care of yourself. And I really believe that turning yourself into a victim is the most self-harm thing that you can do for yourself, because it just sets you up for a lifelong journey of lesson after lesson after lesson that you're doomed to repeat because you're not getting it. Okay? The worm is not something that you have to become. It's what's already underneath the sea of tears. The rose is already blooming. The care is already available. This is who you really are. This is the soul who perceives the troubles. I'm in complete awe of my new life. I cannot believe what this is. Okay? I can't. I can't believe that as my life is changing, so too my family's lives are changing. Everybody is being affected by this energy, and I'm, just became aware of it yesterday, and I was just like freaking out. Like, I have the coffee pot that I wanted. I'm like all of the pretty things that I've wanted, my new rugs. I'm not living in a fucking sea of doom piles because of a hoarder. My house is clean. My dogs are calm. I'm calm. Nobody's walking on eggshells. My kids are starting their lives. Because of this frequency, I have gratitude for my family, where I can hold the gratitude for the rest of my family. Everything now is an adventure. In part 2, I'll read the scriptures that came up with this from the Bible, and we'll do a reading about the victim. See you there.